Hey guys, Rachele here with Amethyst Ascension. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you so much for joining me again. So this is the 4th week of the Witchy Wisdoms Wednesdays. And the 4th week is hashtag the elements. This is a collaboration video with 3 other channels. And that is Jessica at Pagan Pathways, Summer over at AstariaSen, and Jasmine over at Earth Spiderweaver. I do believe that we are going to be continuing with this particular Witchy Wisdoms Wednesdays hashtag, and we are going to have other channels joining us, I believe, and we encourage other people to join in. We do have a group that we have created on Facebook for these collaborations. So if you would like to join in, please let me know so that we can add you to that group. And we are continually bringing out, different topics each week that we do this. So, if you would like to join in and put in a topic that we all have to do, we would love that. So, the topic this week is the elements, and I wanted to read a couple of things to you and let you know what I'm going to be doing. So first of all, I found this wonderful article story under the Witches Almanac that I wanted to read to you. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I absolutely love this book. Let me tell you, it is wonderful. But this is a particular story that was written by Raven Grimassi. It's an excerpt from Raven Grimassi's What We Knew in the Night. And it talks about the different components of magic. But I'm not going into that part. I'm just going into the actual elements that he talks about. And it says the 4 elements in magic. Let me get this out of the way so it doesn't cover the screen. In the realm of magic and ritual, we find teachings regarding 4 mystical creative elements. They are called earth, air, fire, and water. They are used for various purposes in the art of ritual and magic. The most common usage in modern witchcraft is the creation of a ritual or magical space. This is known as the circle of the arts, in which practitioners gather to perform magic or ritual. Additionally, the 4 elements are used to empower spellcasting and other works of magic. The idea of the 4 elements of creation is rooted in the concept that everything on the physical plane has a non-material counterpart. This concept belongs to the field of metaphysics, which is a philosophy concerned with the fundamental inner nature of reality and being. According to the teachings, the 4 building blocks for creation existed before anything did of a material nature. The oldest writings on this subject happen to come to us from ancient Greece in the form of a myth. The ancient Greek known as Empedocles is credited with revealing a cohesive understanding of the 4 elements through formal teachings, such as his Samaya, or Doctrine of the 4 Elements. The early myth of creation depicts the universe in chaos. Only the elemental forces of earth, air, fire, and water occupied the great void. Each of the elements was separate and independent. They did not work together, and there was no purpose and no direction. All was in disorder. Because of this condition, creation was not possible. This setting was called chaos. The myth goes on to tell us that in the midst of chaos, the 5th element of spirit appeared. Ancient texts refer to it as ether or aether, and this is often thought of as the divine mind. The 5th element drew the forces of earth, air, fire, and water together into harmony. Each became an integral tool for creation, and once the elements were unified, the worlds were created through divine direction. In elemental magic, The four elements are called upon to create many universe, which emerges from the process of casting a circle for ritual or magical purposes. As the witch casting a circle, in effect, you become the fifth element and bring the elemental forces together in unison. These forces give form and vitality to the created space. They are energetic. They also energetically mark out the boundaries of the circle, which serves as a place set apart from the everyday world, among other functions. Now that we have looked at the elemental forces, let us examine each of the separate elements. So I'm not going to continue reading the rest of it, although I will say that in this story, which, as I said, is in the Witches Almanac, and I highly recommend, this is a great book. Tons of great stories in here, not to mention an actual almanac. But they do say, like, Earth is cohesive and condensing force. It is the anchor of manifestation. The element of earth provides and maintains the stability that is required for things to take form and to manifest in the material plane. In the art of magic, the elemental earth force is associated with the tool known as the pentacle. And it also, the tonal for earth is the letter A. And when spoken, it is stretched out and carried upon the utterances. A, like so. Then we have air. In magical terms, air is the transmitting elemental force. It carries or conveys one thing or another. This connects elemental air with communication. In magic, air is often used to inform something by passing into it a magical intention. This is a form of charging an object through magic. It also goes on to say that it is associated with the tool known as the wand, and some other systems assign it the athame. So that is a, personal preference, whatever you think there, but the tonal, and I say that for everything. These are just what some people believe. Maybe the majority, I don't know. I can't say on that, but whatever works for you, right? And it also does say that the letter that is associated, or the tonal for air, is the letter E. And when spoken, it is stretched out and carried upon the utterances. E, like so. And you know me, I believe that everything is like vibration and frequency. So it's interesting that all of the elements actually have a tone like that, which is also something that could be used like as in mala beads, stuff like that, prayers, what monks have done, maybe not monks, like yogis or whatever, with the, what do you call it? The mantras and stuff like that. So then we have fire. And this is the element that I'm going to be focusing on today, is fire. Hence I have, which I'll go into this in a minute, what I've got going on here. Fire is the element of transformation. Whatever fire touches, it changes. Set fire to paper, and the result is ash. In this regard, fire can create and it can destroy. Fire allows for metal to be forged into a tool, and it can likewise melt one into liquid without destroying the substance itself. In modern times, most systems assign the color red to fire as a correspondence for ritual and magic. This is because fire makes things red hot. Most systems assign the element of fire to the south quarter in a ritual or magical circle. The tonal for fire is the letter I, and when spoken, it is stretched out and carried upon the utterances I. And then we have water. Water is the element of motion or movement. It is also a purifying and dissolving element. In this sense, it removes the previous state of being. Water can be seen as that which is changeable, as opposed to earth, which is the enduring and stabilizing force. So, and it also says the tonal for water is the letter O. And we have all the vowels. Isn't that funny that all of our language, English language, is based on A, E, I, O, and U, right? Wow. So the tonal for water is the letter O, and when spoken, it is stretched out and carried upon the utterances. Oh. So I wanted to touch on that, and I thought it was really, really appropriate. So I am focusing on fire for this one because what I am doing and what I plan to do, and the reason why that article stuck out to me was because, you know, I'm not one that has normally, and I'm still new, okay? I would still consider myself a new witch. Yeah, I've been studying certain aspects and certain things for, 7 years more reading about witchcraft, but other things like the law of attraction and other things like that, spirituality, and learning about different religions, yada, 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 and mythologies and stuff like that. Far, far longer. I mean, as long as I can remember, I've always been interested in those things. So what I plan to do is create a medallion or enchanting a directional wood slice, and then I'm going to hang it after I do it for each of the elements in my witchy room, and I'm going to put them up on the top right by the ceiling. So I am essentially making this whole space my circle. This is pretty much, this room is where I do the majority of all of my magic. So with saying that, rather than doing a circle, because the reason why I've always kind of not been the kind of person to make circles is because I thought that they were all meant for really just protection and stuff like that. And I felt like I really didn't need protection. I think that's, you know me, I believe in the law of attraction. So whatever you're putting out there, like if you need protection, then you need protection. If you feel like you're safe, then you're safe. I truly believe that. I believe it comes down to what we believe. However, after reading that story from Raven Grimassi about how it's actually used and helps in the creation, and let me just say also, after I watched like The Craft, and I know that that's not, but I watched it years and years ago, and I know that's not factual and all that, and it's not what, you know, witches base their actual stuff on. When they were calling in, you know, the different watchtowers and all that, and invoking the north, south, east, west, I wasn't comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable at this point invoking anything. You guys, most of you that follow me know that. But honoring and working with an element in order to make my magic stronger, that's what I'm all about, okay? You guys know I love to layer magic and compound magic. So that's why, and I'm focusing on just one for this video's sake. So these are all wood slices. If you can see a little parts of it, I actually created the fire symbol. So the elemental symbol. And all four, I've got 4 wood slices under this. They're all going to be going on, you know, like whatever my direction is for each, like fire is south, you get my meaning. And I'm putting that, so I'm going to put this symbol hanging on my south wall in this room, so that I'm essentially always in my circle whenever I'm doing magic, or in my sacred space, or my creative magical universe when I'm in this room. And mentally, I will probably look at the symbols, and just like as in Reiki, when I visualize the actual like Chuku Ray or whatever, like the power symbols actually come in light and be in light, and infusing those into whatever I'm, you know, trying to heal, I will do the same with my magic and join those all together and, you know, put a light around this room, not for protection, but for creating this sacred universe inside of, you know, this sacred magical space. So I did do a little bit of research, and the 2 planets or planetary bodies that are associated with fire is the Sun and Mars. And the Emperor in the tarot is well, it's Mars, and it's, you know, the Aries sign. So it's ruled by Mars, which you can see here, he's sitting on Mars. So I did that. And then I took a whole bunch of crystals, crystal gridding around a candle that I created, which I need to create some more candles. This one is for self-confidence and solar plexus being the sun, right? And the spot where they believe that the soul resides, okay? And it's yellow. So I always think of yellow for fire, and of course red and oranges, those colors. So I am going to also create a herbal incense, loose incense, that I am going to burn, because essentially I am going to do like a small little ritual for each one of the elements that I put onto the wall. And do you have to do that? No, you don't have to. But I think the ritual part of it and all the energy and the compiling of all of these different things that I put into it only charges it and makes it that much more powerful. And then each time I do magic, I am like strengthening that in my sacred space. So I wanted to go over a few of the correspondences that I learned through this. These are all like goldstone, which I also associate with like the sun, carnelian, red agate, red jasper. We've got some Swarovski crystals. So I've just created a little like fire, sun, Mars kind of grid on top of my fire symbol. And then with this particular incense, loose incense that I'm going to burn, also after this is all done, that I'm going to run it through the smoke, I'm going to be using items that would also be considered like sun or fire herbs and or resins. So just a few of those would be what are considered full sun herbs, would be rosemary, copal, palm, and sunflower, because they can take full sun and not hurt them. Spicy or strong smelling items like cinnamon, chili, pepper, cloves, ginger, wormwood. Flowers or botanicals that resemble a fire or a sun, which would be like marigold, amaranth, snapdragon, dragon's blood, calendula, sagebrush. I did get this information off of a what was it, Grotto and Grove, off of the website, and they have for all four of them. I will put a link down below to that site and to that article. But you can find information all over the place, whether it be in books that you have or whether it be on the internet searching for fire-related correspondences. So then other things that are stingy or that sting the skin or irritate the skin, which would be stinging nettle, holly, cedar, mace. Other things that can be protective and, or I should say that can be associated with fire is protective and or holy herbs, such as like angelica, blessed thistle, basil, cinquefoil, and wood betony. And these are said to possess the fire of spirit. So once I get them all done, and I'm going to go through and create rituals for each one of the elements, hang them on my walls, and then I am done. And I have created not a circle every time, but an actual magical, like my own little magical universe where I do all of my magic. So I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you also go and check out the other 3 channels that I talked about, which is Jessica over at Pagan Pathways, Summer over at AstariaSen, and Jasmine over at Earth Spiderweaver. I will be putting links down to all of their channels down below, and I am sending you love and light. Thank you.